Surprise, everybody. We're
Hello.
live here on the Project Babbage YouTube channel as well as on the X platform.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, audio tracks.
Yes, we do. All right. So we got our producer Mike helping out with the audio tracks. We got Braden Langley today.
Great to
with
be here
us.
in person.
Yep. Happy he's down here in the Rogue Valley, Babbage HQ, with me. And today we're going to talk about more controversial stuff. Last live stream we talked about controversial stuff. This one we're also going to talk about controversial stuff. Peer-to-peer. What does it mean to be peer-to-peer? How do peer-to-peer people peer? How do they communicate? How do they pay each other? What is money? Oh, wait.
What is peer-to-peer? Oh, wait.
Peer-to-peer is when two people are trying to interact directly and exchange information among themselves without the involvement of a centralized system that restricts their ability to communicate, right? Mm-hmm. So if I send somebody a like a payment in Bitcoin, we can do that peer-to-peer. That means I literally transmit the transaction to that person who receives the transaction. That way the recipient of the transaction doesn't have to go trawling through the entire blockchain in order to see a transaction and see it in action, actually to receive it, right?
Yeah.
But before we get into a little demo of peer-to-peer and also how to make an app where you can exchange payments between among yourselves as peers in the system, right? I want to talk about the BSV Hackathon in Austin, Texas. So Braden and I will both be there, as will a lot of our team. So if you want to meet the whole Project Babbage team, almost the whole team, not everybody, but most of us in person, then you should go to the Texas Sake Company. I think I'm pronouncing that right. In Sake? I don't know. In Austin, Texas, on Saturday, April 5th. This Saturday, actually, just in a few days. April 5th, get there about noon, and we will have some good presentations from some of our sponsors. We're going to talk about some updates from all around, the BSV happenings. And then we're going to get into 24 hours of hacking. And that's going to involve building some fun apps that use this tech. We're talking about wallet. We're talking about peer-to-peer. We're talking about overlays. We're talking about identity. We're talking about micropayments. We're talking about all of these different things. And all of them relate to, building a better internet, building apps that put users in control, and allowing the kind of peer-to-peer interactions like we're going to demonstrate. Let's do a little recap in case you're a frequent viewer of the live streams. From last time, we actually built a coin flip app. And I was doing that, I was spending a long time getting that where it needs to be. That was a really long live stream. I was so tired.
It was 3 hours.
It was like 3 hours, but we got it done. So I'm going to put my screen up, and let's just do that here. I think I just put my whole screen because I'm going to go to, there we go. Right, now everybody can see everything. And what I want to do is just go to CoinFlip. So I'm going to make sure I have the metadata client running on my system. And if I don't, it should ask me to install it. But actually, it doesn't because it doesn't have the new modal. We need to add that back. But I'm going to make sure to launch it so there's not an error. If you clone the metadata client repository and you're running it from source code, like a pro, then go to metadata desktop, git pull, make sure you got the latest things. Oh, I guess I don't have the latest things. Go on master, npm-i, and then npm run tari dev. So if you're a developer, you'll want to spin it up like this. if you're a consumer, you can download it from the releases page of the GitHub repo. So it looks like I'm just spinning it up here, and yeah, here we go. So I got just about 40 cents in my MetaNet client, and as I always say, in these early days, I really encourage you to have low amounts of money on the MetaNet. This is going to be about peer-to-peer exchange and payments and whatnot, but this is some cutting edge early stuff, and we want to make sure everybody understands. We're gonna get more robust. There's gonna be more things going out, but the code right now, it's all open source. It's on GitHub. You can read it yourself. You can improve it. You can help. Please contribute if you have thoughts or feedback as well on GitHub. Open an issue if you find a bug. Open a pull request if you want to fix a bug, and that sort of thing. But let's just recap. So peer-to-peer exchange can mean a lot of things. It's really just two people talking to each other. They can talk to each other about, hey, Braden, here's a payment. Just very simple, right? And, a more complicated example is the coin flip. We won't be getting into all the complexities of two people trustlessly agreeing on a coin flip. But I want to demo this here at the beginning as one example of peer-to-peer exchange. And then we'll go and look at a full and complete breakdown of how the payment app is working with PeerPay. So why don't I try to find you if I can. I'm just going to challenge you for 1,000 Satoshis. Hopefully identity resolution. Yep, there you are.
Icon.
You got a little icon for email, so that's cool.
It's the same file. So the
hash
was the same.
So you uploaded the UHRP hash.
Yeah, it just works.
And it just works. All right, I call heads. And I'm going to have to obviously approve this transaction. And
I see your request. Resolve your identity.
It looks like I am waiting. Flashback to London 2024 when he did this on the stage. Except for now we're doing it with
A whole new stack.
open source software.
Yep.
All right. Looks like I lost again.
2 times in a row.
Last live stream I lost, and now but sure. Let's go 2,000 this time.
Okay.
You want to send me a challenge?
Yeah, I'll send to you.
Okay. So this is peer-to-peer exchange in action, and then we'll get into the message box and the delivery and communications mechanism that's happening.
It's funny, it always resolves to cool person. You have that one.
I think I have cool person trusted more than email cert or something. But let's see here what's happening. And it looks like I won.
All right, you're net positive, I think.
I think your first challenge to me on the live stream last time was 500. Yeah. And then that was 1,000. So now I'm up by 500.
Nice. Cool. That was good.
So yeah, peer-to-peer exchange. Let's get into it. Whoops. Let's go to Bitcoin SV /P2P. Very short repo name. P2P. The peer-to-peer components facilitate exchange of messages of all types among identity keys. So identity keys are the principal identifiers of a user. It's like a public key of the user, right? It's like the root public key of somebody. Now, if you lose your keys, you can have your identity reissued to you through certificates that point back to a new set of keys. So it's not like your keys are your identity. There's no code is law ideas about that here. It's more like, your certificates point back to this root key that is used to allow you to interact with other people. So these are the peer-to-peer messaging components of the blockchain. Maybe we can walk through a little bit of this stuff and then get into the PeerPay app. So basically, you got message box client and PeerPay client. So message box client is more basic or fundamental, low level, right?
Yeah.
And then you can basically just send messages of any kind. So you have an arbitrary data payload that you can send from Alice to Bob. So Alice can send a message with the message box client. Let's just see, message box client. Here we go. Yep, store and forward. Alice can send a message, and then there's this message box server that basically allows for people to exchange. But of course, that's a server, right? And obviously, servers being centralized is really bad. Maybe we want to. Do you want to try to summarize the way that we get past that in terms of I don't know, like how do we get around the idea that the server is just what if the server went down or something?
Well, it's just it's the mechanism by which messages can be sent or forwarded
Right.
between recipients, but you don't have to rely on just one. You could have multiple. Maybe I have like 3 different ones that I use, and if there's a way that you can, know that you can reach me at those 3 different ones, then we can just communicate. If one goes down, we can use the other 2.
Yeah, so like we have an overlay network that we're building right now, which maps basically people's keys to what servers they're willing to accept messages from, and that way, when you want to talk to somebody, you can kind of just reach them that way. And so the message box server facilitates the exchange of messages between, kind of like if you know what SPV channels was, or peer channels back in the day. It's kind of like that, a little simpler, I would say. Yeah. And it also supports live sockets, and a few other things.
It shouldn't be relied on as like an actual storage mechanism. Like you shouldn't be leaving all your messages.
It's not your hard drive.
Yeah.
Right. It's a wire. Exactly. It's like it's a store and forward. You store and then you forward, and then once you acknowledge a message, right, then it's gone, right? So basically,
and all your messages can be encrypted if you need privacy.
Yeah.
The server never needs to know what your messages are.
Right. So because like if I'm going to resolve, I typed in Braden's email and it found his public key using like people that I trust. So on my Metanet client, I have like this list of people that I trust, and one of them like helps find people's emails to their public keys. There's different ones, different ways to find somebody, different ways to resolve their identity. But I found Braden's public key, and then when I talk to Braden, I can encrypt my messages so that only he can access them, and the server can't even see what we're sending. So, and the server can be swapped out or gotten rid of. If you use like IPv6 in the future, it's going to be possible to signal, like just use this instead, right? Different mechanisms can be used, but it's really just a communications mechanism, right? Like that's why this peer-to-peer stuff is powerful, is because we're abstracting away a lot of those details so that applications can just be coded in like a Alice talks to Bob type of way. And then if Alice is offline, Alice can come back online later and acknowledge the messages that she's received while she's offline, and then perform other actions. Or maybe we require them to be both online. We can use like live real-time things with sockets. But so you can do real-time, so synchronous or asynchronous, I guess. So that's like the basic peer-to-peer client.
The BRC 103 mutual authentication mechanism.
Yeah, that's true. So that way we actually know we're talking to somebody we want to be talking to.
Yep.
You can exchange digital certificates as part of that process as well. You could even exchange digital certificates within the peer-to-peer channel. Like if I was sending you a certificate, I could reveal it to you, and that hasn't even been demonstrated yet.
Yeah, that's very extensible.
Somebody could do that at this hackathon.
Sure.
If they wanted to like build a really cool thing, you could like reveal a certificate attribute from yourself to somebody else, like without telling the whole world. And then the other person can like do an action if they verify like it's actually legit. Possible to do lots of things like that. Peer-to-peer client is just, because BSV, like you have Satoshis in BSV, right? And so we built this peer-to-peer channel, but then we're like, okay, but this is like a blockchain, and you got like Satoshis, so you could pay them to somebody. And you probably want to do that correctly. You probably want to like not reuse addresses and have good privacy over transactions. So we just added this as an additional thing into the peer-to-peer thing, because payments can be sent over this channel between parties with, I send you a transaction and then you receive it into your wallet type idea. So it makes it easier to do those very basic, just peer-to-peer payments. Can be extended. It can be done differently, but this is that's kind of what the peer-to-peer client is.
And another thing we didn't mention is that the people who host these message box servers can monetize them using the payment middleware. Yeah,
so like, people had the idea of doing like peer-to-peer relays and messaging systems in the past on the internet and even the 90s. But as like you get millions of people using that, the thing is it gets a little expensive. And then you start to target them with targeted advertising and steal their data and treat them like trash. All your users, on those platforms, like your messages just get used. It's not conducive to good privacy and good incentives. So if a million people use this, like the people who run the servers that are the fastest and that have the best activity and whatever will be able to get money for that. There's a competition there, so you're actually serving peers versus some other third party who's trying to insert themselves into everything. So yeah, monetization is really powerful at this layer of the network as well. It's not really a well understood layer of the network per se, but I think it will get more understood over time. And every day it's crazy. Like now on our Slack, more people are joining and just asking questions and getting help building stuff, and we're fixing things, and we're just interacting with more people. It's really a new.
It's cool. See,
it's a powerful thing, I think. So what do you say we jump into some code, right? I want to check in if there's any questions. Obviously, we can do that. I think we'll probably maybe questions at the end or something. So we'll queue them up, put them in the chat if you have them, and then we'll have Mike put them all up at the end. But we'll talk about peer-to-peer and actually how this works in practice. Why don't we start with a demo of PeerPay, which uses this peer-to-peer library for communication. That's what's going to allow us to, like build an app where you can pay somebody. Because, I guess one final tangent before we do this is the Metadata client, right? You get in here, you made your account, you got set up with the Metadata client. You're looking at this, and you're like, okay, I got all these apps. I can check out any of these apps that I want to use, right? And I have this balance up here, but like, how do I get money into my account, and how do I get money out of my account? Like, I want to send money as it's a wallet or something, right? It's like, okay, well, the way that this works is every app plugs into the wallet, and every app can do different things. So like, we don't know what the best experience is going to be for users, like trying to send and receive money from each other. And also like that means different things in different countries and different stable coins or tokenized assets, or whether it's base layer BSV, Satoshis, like different certificates that might be required, anything like that. It could depend. So the idea is the wallet is a management system for identity and for keys. And that way you can see things like, your certificates and things like that. And we're working to, always improve this UI and whatnot. But you can see I got a couple email addresses here. I got a cool person certificate, all of that. But like different certificates that can confirm different things. And then there are apps that plug into that. So let's go to PeerPay. Is this the right URL? PeerPay.babbage?
Should be, or yeah.
Okay, that scared me. I was like, wait, why is it a white screen? Oh, there it goes.
Your permissions on?
I'll just approve. I think I got latest version.
Okay. Yeah, should be good.
Okay, I have a.
Try adjusting your.
Let me try to adjust my trust settings because it says cool person every time. And
they're the same level right now, I think. So maybe if you.
If I increase that one, because it's like your cool cert probably was issued to you first.
Mm-hmm.
So we got staging, social cert, and cool cert.
I think that's the correct keys. Yeah.
Let's just do this. And then I'll save my settings, right? This is basically saying I trust staging social cert more than I trust, cool cert. If someone's a cool person, like that's great. But at the same time, I'd rather know what their email is.
Yeah.
So let's try that again. Aha! And I can see this is Braden.
So that the identity
sent me a payment.
Resolving, not based on who PeerPay trusts, but based on who Ty trusts.
Right. And if Braden trusts cool cert more than social cert, then I would show up for him as just cool person. Because that's what cool cert certifies. It just says you're a cool person. If nobody that you trust actually endorses a particular key who sent you a payment, then it would it would basically just, and I just accepted this payment, so that's cool. What would happen is it would just show up as unknown, or like, you don't know this person. Like based on who you trust, there's no person who's willing to say who this is, right? So yeah, I just Command Shift R, but I don't know why I did that. All right, I'm gonna search for Braden and send him 490 Satoshis back, and that way we're even again. Oh wait, I have dollars as my currency, so I'm just gonna guess like 3 cents or something. That's what I get for using US dollars as my currency.
What makes sense is it? And that's
This UI is gonna be improved.
Oh, wow.
It's 92,000. All right, there you go.
Okay.
You get 92,000
Right. I'll send some back to you.
sats.
So then on mine it popped up.
Yeah, and it says payment was sent. So we're using this messaging system to, like exchange transactions peer to peer directly over a communications mechanism that the two of us agree to use. And then we're not having to scan the blockchain every single time we do a payment. And we're also resolving all the necessary identity information. So if this was a stable coin app, that was dealing with tokens in a particular basket, like not just Satoshis, but something else, then we could do that,
Sure. I think the sockets should be working. So if you're connected.
Did you send me a
Did you
payment?
just refresh? No, I'm gonna quick send. Ready?
Okay. Let's see if sockets are working.
Allow.
I have not refreshed yet. And doing a demo live on air. Sometimes it works, guys.
Nice.
There's the identity resolution. It showed up as unknown and then it resolved. So there's that, right? And little UI things, but there we have it. That's there we go. That's a really cool thing. So this is peer-to-peer payments. This is how you actually use this. So PeerPay. This code is open source. I believe it's on PeerPay React. Is that right?
I think so.
Let's find out. Is this the new one? I think this is the new one. Yep. Okay, cool. So yep. Shout out to Steven for having the latest commit on PeerPay. You can read about kind of this application and how it works. But maybe we'll just do a little conceptual walkthrough of the code, and we can describe what each of these pieces of code is doing. Because the peer-to-peer library is one layer deeper, right? But like if you're just a dev that wants to build an experience like this for your stablecoin, or maybe you just want to understand it and build something similar for Satoshis, exchanging between parties, maybe you think that our UI, is just really, it's slow, or, well, that was actually pretty fast. Let me Command Shift R. Right, it's slow to load, and you think you could do better, right? Or maybe you want to do an NFC version between, like, I don't know, iOS devices, and you figure out all the mobile stuff. Like, there's different things somebody could do.
App Finder too. That I just like.
That's what now?
App Finder is like
App
basically
Finder?
the equivalent to PeerPay, kind of.
App Finder.
I just vibe coded it using Lovable.
Lovable? Do you have a URL?
appfinder.lovable.
Lovable.app. Let's find out. Oh, is this it? This is yours? Okay.
So anyone could do something similar to this, just reference the other code.
So how does this work? I can search for Braden, maybe.
Enter.
Enter. I have to press enter? What is this? Okay, I'll approve. And there we go.
There you go.
I see pay. Can I click on pay?
Should be able to.
I click on pay. Okay. And it opens a little dialog box. I'll send you 1,033 Satoshis.
Okay.
And then I'll click the approve, and it's going to probably ask me to make a transaction. So like different UIs, different apps, they can plug into the same protocols, trust relationships, identity certificates, and now Braden has received a payment with this UI.
Yep.
Does that show up? Wait, if you send me a payment with this one, or vice versa, can it show up in the other one?
It should, because it's using. As long as it's using the same message box.
Right. So it has to use the same. The apps have to use
We
the
should
same.
try. I don't remember if it is or not. But
That's interesting.
so let's see. I just sent you a payment. It
On,
should actually.
You sent me a payment on this one?
I sent it on App Finder.
On App Finder.
So if you click on this
if I go to
this little icon, you
let's
can
confirm. Okay, I see this.
Right,
I see that, right? But I'm going to go to the other app, and maybe it'll still work. If I go to PurePay.
Yeah, because as long as it's using the same message box, any app
Right.
you plug into.
Yeah, there's just got to be a comment. There it is.
There it is.
Okay, so now here's an interesting test. If I accept this one.
It probably won't do it real time, but if you refresh
Right.
it would on the other one.
Yeah, so now it's probably not going to be there on the other one. Because this is probably going to still be that way, but I'll refresh it.
Yeah, it sends the acknowledgement because you've accepted the payment.
Right. So there's an acknowledgement, and then it's gone. So different apps can plug in, like different UIs, they can plug into the same underlying mechanisms. So that if I like using PurePay, and these apps are kind of having a standard protocol of interoperability, then it's very possible for me to use PurePay because I like that UI better, and Braden can use Lovable to vibe code up his own version in 4 minutes, and then deploy it, and then everybody can use it. And yeah, I mean that's kind of the future, right? Like all your data can move with you across everything. I mean, like the to-do list is another example of a data-rich app, more data-rich, I think. It's like, okay, you got your list of tasks, but I can have this look one way in one app, and someone else can build another app that plugs into the same thing. Or coin flip. You could even have Alice and Bob using different coin flip UIs to do the same experience. Like that's the kind of ideas that we're talking about here. But maybe I should pull down the code for the PurePay app. Let me hide this. I don't know how to see. There we go. And then I want to make a new terminal window. And PurePay. Do I have it? Nope. Let's just git clone it. So if you want to check out the PurePay code, follow along with us on this live stream, everybody. If you're a developer, open your terminal and make all the same typos as I make, right? Git clone, git at github.com, and it's going to be PurePay React. So you can see that command there. And we'll just go into this and we'll walk through as a developer how you would use this to build something similar and kind of what are the components to this experience. Code dot, here we go. Let's make this a little bit bigger, shall we? All right, there we go. So I don't need a terminal because I'm not going to run this up, but we'll walk through the code. So SRC, what do we got here? App. So basically, let's look at, so if you're building this, you're going to want to make a React app, right? Install like identity React, peer-to-peer, and the SDK. That's all.
Those are the main three.
Those are the main three. And then you got some React stuff or whatever.
I want to have the amounts be in your native currency, whatever you have configured in your MetaNet desktop. There's the Mountainator React package.
A Mountainator? Is that?
Down below.
Right.
But that's not really essential.
Yeah, and then you got like a React prompt in case you don't have the MetaNet client installed. You can it'll warn you. You can see how the code works for that. So logical place for me to start if I'm looking at this is app, right? And I can just exit. How do I terminal, and then we can go exit there. And I'm going to move this a little bit over to the left so we can manage our screen real estate well. There. Okay, so we're just going to import a few things, and I'm going to, we got a payment form, it looks like, a payment list, and a payment, we're importing these from, from a few places. And we're doing some things here, but at a high level, what's going on in this app component? We've got a PurePay client, some types for incoming payment, So firstly, if you're talking to an application, You want to construct your wallet client like this, actually.
Yes.
So you can just if you're in a React app, you can just call new wallet client like this. That old code, it's not the latest, but this is the correct way to do it. So I might even push an update after this repo. Maybe we'll write some code after all. But yeah, first, if you're building an app and you're talking to a wallet, use the wallet client from the BSV SDK. Then PurePay client, and you give it a wallet client because your PurePay client needs a wallet to send and receive payments, right? Telling it where you're going to talk over, what message server you're using. And in the future, by the way, it's just going to use an overlay to resolve based on who you're talking to, where that person is available. So that way, you can set that up. Right.
Go to the message box.
Right. Yeah. So we set this up here. Let's see. This is the PurePay client app, and we got payments, which is a state variable, whether we're loading, and then is the MetaNet client missing. And then we have this, which is defined but never used. And then we have this, which is defined but never used.
Some code cleanup.
This is why we're, it's always good to do this.
Yep.
The best time to do it is definitely when we're live on air, in front of lots of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hear the applause from Mike. That's funny. Okay, let's think here. So we're using an interval. What is going on here? Oh, this is just checking the MetaNet client.
Should probably be an export.
If you have the MetaNet client, right, shouldn't we clear the interval? Because if I open the network tab,
is it continually checking?
Yeah, I think so. Let me verify that. But I think I fixed this in one app, and I didn't fix it in the other apps. But yeah,
We should.
No, did it? It's not actually continually checking. Okay, that's cool.
That's good. We should just export that as a utility or something that you import.
Yeah. I'm just watching the network tab. Oh, like the interval and everything, you mean?
Yeah, people don't need to recode this. If they want to customize it, they can. But
yeah, like we can figure out the best way to make this type of thing, but it's just checking for the MetaNet client, and showing a modal if it's available, if it's if it's not already there. Fetch payments. So this loads, or this happens.
Just a little utility that can be called probably on load.
Yeah, and it just shows your list of payments in the system. So what is this what is this doing? Well, it's saying let's see, payments.
Right above it is where it actually calls a list.
Right. So PurePay client. If we go and look at this code, PurePay client. I wanted to go to actually look at PurePay client. But it's gonna be tricky. Where is that code? I was gonna do this, maybe.
Oh, you have to install.
NPMI. Oh, I didn't even NPMI.
That's why everything's red.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that makes good sense. So now I can actually see the list of dependencies. All right. PurePay client.
There we go.
Here we go. So PurePay client looks like we can construct it. We already saw how you construct it. A constructor just sets the stuff up, and then we're gonna say, what do we got? Some unused private methods. What is this? Well, it's fine. All right. Create payment token. That's for actually making the payment to the other person. We've got a send payment, and that takes a, payment, and it sends it off. Say who you're paying and how much, basically. And it uses this, and then it actually uses the. So PurePay class extends message, doesn't it? It extends the actual message box client. So you can see that. So So we have like things like send and receive messages and list messages, acknowledge message, all of that. But yeah, we can go through the methods here at a high level, but you can basically listen for,
either send it over HTTP or you can use sockets.
Yeah, use sockets or HTTP. Accept a payment that you've received. You can, I think, reject a payment, which sends it back and says, "Hey, I didn't accept this."
Yep.
And then you can list your incoming payments, and that's it. So pretty simple class. And you can use that to build an app like this. So this app, right? Obviously, we got that, and then we have this one, which is going to set things up in the React. That loads. That happens on load, and then we're gonna use the socket. So here we're just using a socket, I think, right, to actually to do this operation.
So it's an event or a event handler there. So on payment received, then it can set your state variable to have the payments that you received.
Yeah. We're into the UI. So there's obviously a payments form. We'll look at that in more detail. The payment form contains the amount and the payee, who you want to pay. That's an opportunity maybe to get into the identity React components. So payment form, what does that do? Well, do you want to maybe provide a bit of a review of this?
Let's see. So your state variables there, looks like 2 of them are unused because we
simplified.
Probably added the amount native or something. Not sure. We got our submit handler there. Just make sure the identity key and stuff is correct.
And then it calls the underlying class.
Down below, let's see. Yep. So we're going to use PeerPay client.send live message with our recipient key and the amount, which is in Satoshis. So in the PeerPay client, you can enter in USD if that's like what your preferred currency is, and then under the hood, it will convert it to Satoshis.
And that uses like the services, or the the Amountinator stuff to actually convert it. So Amountinator is like it deals with amounts.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't know what to call it, so we call it Amountinator. It deals with amounts of currency, different kinds. So like basically your MetaNet client, it gives you the option to specify what currency you want to see things in. If I go to settings, I can change that and it displays it the way I want, essentially. So that's cool.
Handle amount or chain is
this
unused.
Is unused.
I think we were doing some work on that. Yeah.
Let's just simplify. If we are playing chess, we should simplify our positions. If we are writing code,
currency symbol that can be removed because now we use the Amountinator.
Yep.
And the amount is not used, but set amount is. So that's a log.
Well, it's not used. So set amount.
Set amount used.
Who is using?
Nope. All right, good. I'm cleaning it up.
Right. And then why is there all these blank lines in here? Like we're treating this UI as if it's well, it's okay.
It needs room to breathe.
It needs something. Let's see. Use PeerPay client to send the payment. Right, that's what's going on there.
Yep, this is in the handle submit. So.
Yeah, this is handle submit. We're up here. Prevent default. Do your validation up this way, and then what? Store. Yeah, you got to save when you resolve the identity. So we're using the
identity search field component.
Yeah. So this is a search box that basically you can type in who you're looking for, like by name, by email, by whatever attributes they have that you trust. And then it will use your trust network to find any like identity keys of people that match what you're searching for and show like, maybe it's a legal name. So you can see that it's got like, it's got a face, like a government ID face photo. And when you hover over, it shows like, oh, this has been trusted by, whoever, right? Or this is certified by, one of your trusted certifiers. And applications actually don't really have access to the list of who you trust. So that way,
they just say, here's a key, right? And then,
well, the applications will say, can I search by this? And then the wallet will say, here's the results.
yes.
But only if
The
you give
application
the
doesn't
application
know
permission.
who- yeah.
The application doesn't know like why it's getting those results, or like what order, what order matters or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have that, and that basically allows you to, and this is just all styling. So CSS is in there if you want to look at that. But then you can have an amount input field from, I think, Amountator. And that, yeah, so this is like who you want to pay and how much is below. Okay. And then you click the button, and then it goes and uses the peer pay to actually do it. So I hope that's clear. I hope that makes sense. That's why we're looking at this.
Yeah.
Right?
Those are the two components that we're looking at.
Yeah, and then there's the payment list, which is just, I think, UI, like rendering. Like this doesn't really do anything, right?
Well, I think there's the identity card is the only.
Oh, so identity card. Oh yeah, well, accept and reject, of course, too. So this shows the list of like, if you want to send me a payment rate, and I can put it on the UI, but basically shows a list of incoming payments and little accept and reject buttons under each one. So
Sent.
all right, and we'll see if the socket does its deal.
Oh wait, I sent it from AppFinder.
Yeah, but that should work.
I think AppFinder doesn't send it live, actually.
Oh, okay, I'll refresh. All right, there it is. And so I can see the accept and reject. And I can see the amount, which resolves in my currency. And yeah, so I'll just reject this. You can have it back. So that just creates a transaction that actually, gets it back to the person who sent it, because I don't want it. Uses the same, I think, input and everything. Okay, so yeah, that's what's going on here. We're just calling into the peer pay class here to do this stuff, accept and reject. And then the identity card is really cool, actually, because you have an identity key, right? I mean, we're making use of, here's identity card. You can see it right here. It's like I have someone's identity key, right? And I want to show the user, based on all their trust network and who they trust, like the best way to represent that identity of that counterparty, of that person I'm interacting with. So that user will know who that is based on what they want to see about them, about people they trust, Phone number, email, could be a social media handle, could be a government issued ID. Depending on what application you're building, you'll want to have certain, certificates. And if you're not using this very high level React component, right, which is just like one way of doing this, the wallet actually exposes the underlying APIs so that you could build something that, for instance, requires particular certificates. So that you could build like a regulation compliant, like this person must be certified in this certain way in order to even show up in the application. So you're building like a thing for legal services. It's like, okay, well, then certified lawyers from my actual state that I live in, that have been, approved, or I don't know. People are going to build stuff. You've got to architect it and think through the way you want to do it. And you also got to be compliant, and it's also new technology. So bear that in mind as you're building stuff. Play gently with it until it works out the way everybody needs it to work out. But yes, these are the primitives, these are the components, these are the foundations, the mechanisms of interaction for peers on the net, how they can pay each other, how they can trust each other, how they can facilitate knowledge about one another, that they are in fact who they say, and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. That's how it works.
And this makes it an amazing user experience too, because you don't have to log in or sign up. You don't have to.
I didn't make an account on
a really
AppFinder.
long address or public key. You can just type in attributes about people.
I literally didn't genuinely even know the website of AppFinder until Braden told me what it was, and I just went there because I have the MetaNet client open on my computer, MetaNet desktop, I didn't make an account. I didn't agree to the terms of service for that. I just dealt with people. The apps act as fiduciaries acting on behalf of the user. The apps facilitate interaction among people and allow those people to deal with one another. And that's what apps do on Web3.
Yep.
That's how it works, right? I think that's the main stuff that I want to cover, but let's go to the audience. Let's go and see if there's any questions. I don't know. This was a surprise. So thank you for tuning in. And if you subscribed to our YouTube, or if you follow us on X, maybe that's how you learned about this this live stream. We'll go back to the studio and we'll put the screen away if we can. Yeah, feel free to jump in, Mike, if there's been any questions or anything. Maybe our chat isn't going to be quite so active today. It doesn't look like it.
Show the chat from all those platforms?
I think it does, but we've only got just a couple on this one, I think. And therefore, you know,
Call it good?
Yeah, we can call it a wrap. It's been hopefully useful to talk through some of these things and to understand, hopefully, you know, I don't know, peer-to-peer stuff is new and powerful. I think exciting. Developers are going to have a really fun time. So if you're just a user, if you're just somebody excited about MetaNet, BSV blockchain, what the capabilities are in the future, like, you should be excited as a user for what is being built. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of, you know, a lot of good things in the future. It's just we're showing the devs how to get there, right? What are the tools? Let's learn the ropes. Let's get to this hackathon. Let's win $55,000 in total prizes, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So see you there. Check us out on YouTube. Check out our other live streams. Check out X. Check out the GitHub. Read the docs. Understand the tools, how to use them.
Yep, that's going to be to your advantage.
You will build great things if you do. You'll have more ability to make your ideas work. Go to bitgenius.net if you want to talk to an AI model that can answer some of your basic questions. Don't try to use it to write all of your code. It probably won't work.
It might give you a really good prompt, though, that you can take and then vibe code an awesome UI around it.
Right. It has really good high-level conceptual understanding, I would say. Yeah, BitGenius is cool. You know, docs.projectbabbage.com is under construction. We got a few things on there that are coming together. You know, give us a few days. Give us a few days. Good things in the works. So subscribe to the YouTube. Check out our social media and go to the, you know, go to the hackathon. Engage with your friends and fellow developers from everywhere. You know, not just Austin, Texas, but maybe you're somewhere else. You could create a local MetaNet meetup.
That'd be cool.
Alliteration. MetaNet meetup. See, guys, we're getting better at marketing. We got to get better at marketing this technology and sharing it to people, because now we have the tools and the capabilities and the standards and the backing and the alignment and all of the things that are necessary in order to actually make this stuff happen for real. So, you know, there's always going to be a lot to learn, and there's always going to be more to build for us and for everybody. We are a research company, an infrastructure company, and I guess a hackathon company. Now that's a fun kind of company to be. So, all right, that's it, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and see you in Austin, Texas in a few days.
See ya.
Bye, guys.